And I thought that was really cool. And that was really a fun experience. So I did enjoy that. So after having some cigars, we went back to the hotel. We had a very long day the next day. I can tell you right now that I was one of the few people, I didn't recognize anybody on the left that was at AmFest that got a credential. To their credit, they did give me a credential. I don't think that I didn't see one person that I recognized on the left out there. But so it was nice to get a pass. I got my credential. I walk in there and I'm shaking a lot of hands. And there's a lot of people coming up to me saying, hey, man, I disagree with almost everything you say, but I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here. Everybody was really nice. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Everybody was very friendly. They're very nice. I ran into a lot of people. I ran into David Pollack, of course, who's done this show before. He now does a show on OAN. I even ran into the guy that assaulted me at the Tim Pool event a few months ago, if you recall, and he apologized to me. He shook my hand, and we talked it out. I put up video of me having a conversation with Jack Posobiec, a guy that I have gotten into it with on a number of different occasions. We both have said not so nice things about each other, but he was very gracious. We shook hands. There's actually video of it. Somebody in the crowd saw us talking and took a video of us talking, and it's on social media. So I thought that was really funny. A guy by the name of Cam Higbee, who's done this show before, who I've said some very not nice things about. This is the guy who I said chases around Antifa with pepper spray. So we saw him at a party, and he's like, Brian, you can be an a-hole, but I respect you, and you're all right. And he shook my hand. But then there was a lady there, and he had not so nice things to say about the lady, and he called her the C word, which I didn't appreciate very much. But me and Cam shook hands. I didn't like this kind of stuff that Cam was saying to some of the other people there. But for whatever reason, he wanted to make amends with me. A guy by the name of Kevin Smith, who does a show on Rumble, he shook my hand. He came over. There were a lot of people that came up to me, and we had conversations, and we kind of made amends. And let me be very clear on this. I'm not having a beer with Jack Posobiec when I say make amends. The reason why I shook his hand, the main reason, two reasons. They invited me to the event. They credentialed me. Everybody was very nice to me, which I appreciate. And I want to get these people on the show. And I'm not going to get somebody on the show if I go up to Jack Posobiec and I say, hey, you're a piece of garbage. You're dangerous for America, blah, 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 blah. We can save that for when he goes on the air with me. But I want to get these people on the air, and that's the main reason why I made amends with a lot of these people. And just, pleasant conversations. But I did 8 podcasts. I did OAN. I did CNN. I did some national TV. And for the most part, I had a good time. There were a couple bad experiences that I will talk about. But I do want to play some audio and video for you, and I want to go through it one by one. So as we're walking into AmFest, we see there's a lot of people that are selling merchandise. Now, I was messing with one of them because there was a guy, we went to his table, and apparently he was selling some Trump 2028 gear, and he didn't appear to me to be a very intelligent individual. So I wanted to play that for you. This is the video as we're close to walking into AmFest, and I decided to mess with this guy as we were walking in. Watch this.
H.R. 4547 is my business name.
Right on. I don't need it right now because I'm going to be 10 minutes away right there. So,
You're selling the
Charlie Kirk, like pin or sticker or something.
Somebody spilled soda on it.
Yeah, I know. I just have just the shirts and the magnets, and I'm down to one freedom hat left.
He's allowed to run in 2028, isn't he?
Charlie Kirk? No, he's dead.
Oh, he's not. No, I mean Trump.
Trump. Yeah, there's a way he can do 2 more years, but there's a certain way he has to do it.
Why can't he run again?
Because there'll be a third term.
They don't allow that?
No, you don't allow third term. Now,
why do they not? I don't understand that. Why do they not allow that?
You'll have to Google it. I can't articulate it exactly the way that it's supposed to be done. But because of the way the 2020 election was taken from them and everything like that,
it was taken. I agree.
So because
what is wrong? Why do all the Democrats say that he lost? Like, I don't understand that.
Well, that's what they always do. And it goes,
why do they lie so much?
It's just that's what they're told to do by.
Like, they have no proof that Joe Biden won, but yet they lie about it. Like, I don't understand.
Well, there's a lot of evidence showing that they stole.
I know.
Because of the.
Mike Lindell, like, I've talked to Mike Lindell, and he seems like a pretty smart guy, and he has the goods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dinesh D'Souza, did you see 2,000 Mules? He should have fucking won an Oscar for that movie. That was brilliant. Yeah.
Are we able to buy the 2028 hat?
Yeah, I'll give you a discount.
He said he'd sell it for $10. Yeah.
$10.
Okay.
That's a good deal.
Why aren't they on the table?
Because they got soda all over them.
Spilled on it.
And that's the reason why. I got these ones.
Did somebody throw soda on them?
I got these ones.
Is there soda on every one of them?
Yes.
Wow.
Did somebody purposely throw soda on them?
No, it might because I parked so far away and I didn't know where I was going to set up.
I'll take a blue and a black one.
Look at that.
You'll be able to most likely get it cleaned out, but
Soy.
It's fine. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. That just sucks. Say again?
I said thank you, sir.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
Patriot 4547 is my business name.
Where are you
Right
from?
on. I don't need it right now
Obviously,
because
that
I'm
was-
going to be 10
That
minutes
guy, he
away.
was
Right
not
there.
very intelligent.
And you're selling the
And he was selling me 2028 MAGA hats. I was playing stupid. And yes, I was being a fake there because I was trying to engage with this guy who was obviously very dumb. And the people that buy that gear, oh my God, what a bunch of morons. But you had a lot of people like that. And yes, you're right. For Blue Eyed Media, I was working a little bit undercover there. And it was weird. It was strange. But at the same time, I had to make fun of these people because they're dumb as a doornail. All right, so you guys might have heard of the right-wing influencer Ben Bergquam, right? He does a show. He's a very popular guy on social media, and I've been wanting to talk to this guy for a very, very long time. So the UNF America tour, and I'll explain this. We had some tables set right outside of AmFest. So basically, every big right-wing influencer would walk by. Nick Sortor walked by. I called him a right-wing grifter. I asked him to stop by and talk to me. He didn't do it, but I called him a grifter and a moron. But most of the interactions didn't go that way. But in order to get these guys' attention, you had to say something provocative. You had to say something to get him to stop. So Ben Bergquam is a guy who went around to all these left-wing events, and when Kamala Harris was running for office, he would make fun of all the people in the line, but he never would question anybody on the right. He calls himself a Christian. I've considered Ben to be a fake Christian. I saw him walking by with his crew, and I said, I hate you. I said, you're a right-wing buffoon. And he stopped right in his tracks, and this is exactly where the video starts, where I'm questioning Ben Bergquam, who I think is a right-wing propagandist, and it got very, very interesting, and I think entertaining. Going to play it on his show, but his camera crews were recording the whole time. Of course, I'm recording on my cell phone to make sure I get it in case they don't actually play away. How I think it's quite interesting.
What's that?
You're not my buddy.
Well, you're my buddy.
You go around.
What do you want? What do you want prayer for today?
What do I want prayer for?
Yeah, what do you need?
Why
prayer
do
for?
you support reliable sexual abuse? 34-count felon.
I don't.
Why do you support
good-
a guy? Why do you support the guy that attacked POWs and said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured? That's who you support. So now I'm asking you a question. You ask stupid questions. Now I'm asking you real questions.
Yeah.
Why do you support a guy like that who said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured? Why don't you answer one of my
I
questions?
think John McCain was a terrible politician.
I didn't ask you about
I
your
appreciate
opinion.
his service.
See that? I didn't ask him about his opinion
Yeah,
about.
I think.
See how he
Let
dodges the
me
question?
answer. I think
Answer.
President Trump is the best president we've had in the last 100
Didn't
years.
ask you about that.
Possibly.
I didn't
No, I'm
ask you
just answering.
about that.
That's what I'm answering.
John
That's why I
McCain
support him.
specifically.
You're asking me why I support him. That's why
No,
I
I
support
didn't.
him.
I
Yes,
did
you
not.
did.
I
Why do
asked
you
you
said why do I
specifically.
support a guy like that?
John
that?
McCain.
I'm telling you why I support him.
Okay, so let me ask you a specific question now,
Yeah.
sir, okay? Donald Trump, the other day when Rob Reiner and his wife were brutally murdered, I think we both could agree. I don't know you personally. I can only go by your videos. He made some horrible
You
disparaging
said you hated me. How do you?
I hate what you do.
Okay,
Because you
So
don't.
re- classify.
I don't know you personally. You might be a nice guy, okay?
I am.
Okay.
What's your name, by the way?
Brian Shapiro. I do Pierce Morgan a lot. I do.
Ben Bergquam. Good to
Okay,
meet you.
nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I apologize. I don't know you personally.
Okay.
Okay. And by the way, there's a lot of people in there I don't like what they do, but they've treated me very nice. Michael Knowles and Jack Posobiec and all those guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
We got off to a bad
All right,
start.
all right,
Okay?
all right. Back down.
What I don't like is the right. You attack the left and liberals 24/7 with your videos.
Yeah.
I'm a registered independent who did not vote. Ask you this: Ghislaine Maxwell, and why have they given her the preferential treatment? Why is it that Maxwell was sent to a
I would assume because she's witness its protection. I mean, that's the only assumption. That's the only thing that makes sense. I'm just telling you. That's the only thing that makes sense.
You know what makes
But
sense?
let me go back to your first question.
Yes.
I think we should release all the Epstein files.
I agree.
I am critical
We
on
agree.
that. I think Bondi screwed up when
Yes.
they came out and
I
said,
agree.
we're going to release them all. And they gave a binders, empty binders.
I agree.
So I totally agree with that. I think, and I also think anybody who molests a child should get the death penalty. And I think it should be
100%.
I think it should be imposed by their parents or the child themselves.
Then why is it right now every Democrat wants to release the files?
They don't. They don't.
They
I think
voted
it's a
that way.
talking point.
They voted that way. It's not a talking
as soon,
point.
no,
They
as
voted
soon,
that way.
as soon as
They
that
voted that
option
way. That's
came-
not a talking point.
It is. It is. Because
why did
they
every
know,
Democrat vote that way?
well, they are starting to come out, and I thank God they are. I think the reality is there's both sides that are going to be shown.
Fine.
And, I'm good with that.
So am I.
I'm good with that.
So am I. So
I'm
why
good
does
with that.
Donald Trump call
There's
us?
common ground.
Why does Donald Trump call us stupid for talking about it?
I can't speak to his intentions.
Oh, come on.
But no, look,
That's so disingenuous. You're not a stupid
no,
guy.
I'm
Come
answering.
on.
I'm answering your question. I personally believe President Trump is the best president, the best option we have
Really?
right now. For no doubt about it.
5 months in a row.
But let me, I'm just a qualifier. But I also believe that the Epstein files should be released unredacted.
Okay, we agree.
As long as children are targeted.
Will you call out? President, you're not the
Yeah,
president.
I know.
He's the, wait,
I'm
hold
not,
on.
no, I'm not.
I
I'm
would
not.
disagree if you said that, and I would call you out for it. But you're not the president.
No,
He's
it's
the
okay.
leader of the.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I mean, I accept you.
Let me ask you
I
a
accept
question.
you disagreeing with that. I accept it
When
offending you.
Charlie Kirk
but I'm not-
died, when Charlie Kirk was murdered, and by the way, that
I
was
know Rob.
awful.
Rob said decent things about it.
Yes.
but he's also
So
said
did
some of
I.
the most heinous things about President Trump.
He's not the president. He's
okay. It's okay.
It's not okay when you're in my opinion when you're
No,
the
it's okay for you to be upset about
when
it.
you're
I'm
the
just
leader-
saying,
when
I'm
you're-
not going to denounce President
when
Trump.
you're the leader of
I may not have done it.
So a couple gets brutally murdered,
Yeah,
and
right.
you're not going to denounce the president of the. Let me ask you a question: if Joe Biden, the day after Charlie Kirk, let's just say Charlie Kirk was assassinated under Joe Biden,
Yeah.
if Joe Biden had said the same disparaging things about Charlie Kirk within 24 hours after he died, you're telling me you wouldn't have called that out? I don't believe you.
Well, I don't think the level of what President Trump said was anything near the level of what we heard about what people said about Charlie
Name me
Kirk.
one prominent elected Democrat official that celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk. Give me one.
I don't have a name. On top of
Exactly,
it.
because there's zero. That's why there is a difference between celebrating the not wanting to celebrate his life
Yeah.
and celebrating his death. Now, AOC and Ilhan Omar, they didn't like Charlie Kirk. They said he stood for a lot of bad things, but they
President Trump didn't celebrate Rob Reiner's death.
I didn't say that. What
Well, you're
I'm saying
equating
is,
it.
you guys on the right, you just started the bullshit, which was, with all due respect, the Democrats. I don't care. Some idiots on social media, they're saying the same stuff about Rob Reiner. Some moron on social media with 8 followers
Yeah,
is
but
different.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not the same thing. You're not comparing.
I agree. The
So-
president
so-
of the United States should be set to a
but he
higher
didn't
standard.
Right, but he didn't celebrate his
He
death.
said he was bad for America.
He was
and
bad for America.
Oh, you say that the day.
Rob Reiner was working to undermine America from within,
Oh,
along with the
please.
traitors
Please.
like John Brennan. It's just true.
What
Like
did Rob
James
Reiner
Comey.
do to hurt America? Tell me. What did he do?
He supported the traitors like John Brennan and like
Okay, so
James
so,
Comey
so because
to
you
undermine
disagree,
this country.
so because Rob Reiner supported James Comey, you think it's okay for the president of the United States
To talk bad
attack
about
Rob
him?
Reiner
Sure.
within
To talk bad
within
about him?
24
Sure.
hours after he was murdered? That's bullshit.
Look, I'm okay with it.
That is awful. That is awful.
he
Where's
didn't
your moral
celebrate-
compass? Where's
It's-
your moral
it's in
compass?
putting America
Okay,
first.
okay. Well, okay. You want to talk about putting America first?
Yeah.
What about bringing in 600,000 Chinese people to this country when he said we didn't have enough time? What about?
There's another disagreement I have with him.
What about
H-1B
bailing out?
visas? We should eliminate
what I
most of the
understand.
H-1B visas. Look, you're acting like I'm a simp. Like
No.
I'm in the
I don't
cult.
think
No,
you're
you
a
said
simp.
that. You're like I'm in the cult.
What you do for
I
work.
disagree.
I think you're a different person away from the camera, but let's see if you're a simp. You wear that cross on your jacket, which, by the way, I don't have a problem with. Everyone is entitled to their religion.
Yeah.
My question to you is, how can you wear that cross on your jacket and then say it's okay for the president of the United States to say disparaging things about a man and his wife who were just murdered? That is not Christian.
Very simple.
That's not
He's
Christian.
Not Jesus.
That's not
There-
Christian.
absolutely, he's not Jesus. Look,
He's
I
not
don't
Jesus.
hold
That's your
people-
excuse.
100%.
Oh my God.
Everyone needs
This guy-
Jesus, and I pray for President Trump. I pray for President. I pray for you. I pray for this nation. And that actually, we full circle. This is the moral of the story. America needs Jesus. We need Jesus back in this country. The majority of the problems that we
Okay,
have in
let's
this
talk
country is
about
because we took Jesus.
Would
out of
Jesus
it.
want the biggest tax breaks for the top 1% at $100 billion? If you care so much about what Jesus
Jesus said, "Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's." I don't think Jesus would necessarily delve into that.
Of course
issue.
not. He would dive into it. He would say we need to take care of the poor. We're taking away $20 million.
When he was asked about it, he said, "Give unto Caesar." Yeah, he would definitely give to the poor, but he doesn't think the government. That was the church's job. It wasn't the government's job to do that. And this is the problem. If we've given the authority of the church away to the government. It should be the churches coming in that are helping the people, not the
Do
government.
you agree? Do you believe in the separation between church and state?
No.
You don't.
I believe in there was never enshrined in the Constitution. It was an idea. I don't believe in the intent that it's being used for now. I believe that the church should not run the state. I don't believe the state should run the church. But you cannot separate the most important decision-making factor that Christians use or any person of faith uses from their political decisions. You cannot
This
separate.
is what
them.
I don't understand with people that call themselves.
How do you separate? Look,
Let me just ask you a question.
let me ask you. If the purpose of my life, if I believe, and I do believe this, is to bring more people to Christ and to fill up heaven,
I'm not a religious person.
that's fine. I'm not saying you have to be. But if the purpose of my life is that, how could I separate that? If I was a politician, I'm not.
But you're
How
not.
could
You're
I
not a
separate that from the decisions I make as a politician?
Okay, I'm going to answer that by saying this. If you truly are a Christian,
Yeah.
then you cannot be okay with anybody punching at a guy who was just murdered brutally by his son, regardless of political affiliation.
Sure you can.
That is
Because
not
Christians
Christian.
aren't perfect. No, Christians aren't perfect. Absolutely.
So your excuse to everything that Donald Trump does is he's not perfect. But every single time Joe Biden makes a mistake, you attack him, and you don't use that excuse. I find that very interesting.
You're saying every single time. That's a generalization.
Does January 6th happen if Donald Trump doesn't lie about the 2020 election?
He didn't lie. The election
Yes, he
was
did.
stolen.
Where's your evidence
there
of
is-
widespread voter fraud? That's bullshit.
Yeah, it was. It was
Absolute
widespread
bullshit.
all over the place.
Bullshit.
The vote by mail. All you have to look at the one piece of
Don't
evidence.
shush me. You're not
all you.
Get out of here. You stupid
Hey,
jack.
don't.
Get out of here.
Are you mansplaining to her?
Yes, he
Are you
is.
shushing
She's
a woman of
shushing
color?
a woman.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
A woman
Okay.
of color?
Yes.
Wow, yes,
Yes.
I am.
This isn't.
Look
Get
at
out of here. You're
it.
not part of this
Look at
interview.
it.
Get out of here.
He
Get out
thinks
of
the
here.
male.
You're
You're not part of this interview. Get out
Please
of here.
don't touch it. Please don't touch a woman.
Yeah,
But
she just touched me.
absolutely.
Please-
Yeah, but
wait,
you
wait,
can't.
wait.
Double standards.
Please
double
don't
standards.
touch a woman, but he supports a liable Trump mushroom gobbler. He supports a liable sexual abuser.
That's not true. Okay, but back to
Trump
back to the
mushroom
election.
gobbler.
Look, back to
Trump
the election.
mushroom
So
gobbler.
when you look at the election results, the total volume of votes between President Trump,
Election.
Obama, President Trump, Biden, Trump. And we went from roughly 60 million total votes to 80 million
Here's
for
how I'll answer
Biden.
that. Yep.
And you think that you
Here's
think
how
those
I
are
answer
all
it.
legitimate.
Here's how I will answer that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you think, and it doesn't matter what I think. Now, why do I say that?
Because you need the
No,
evidence.
no. Hold on. Let me just finish.
Yeah.
You know this. It has to be proven in
Yeah.
a court of law.
Totally.
Hold on.
That doesn't. No.
Hold on.
Yes, it does.
Hold
But
on.
that
I'm not
doesn't mean
done
it
yet.
didn't happen.
I'm still answering your questions.
Yeah.
Okay? He had 62 opportunities in a court of law. They all ruled no merit. And you can't make the excuse, because I know you guys always like to say liberal judges. Some of those judges were appointed by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They found that there was no merit. Now, listen, if you can provide me or a judge, more important, with widespread voter fraud evidence, go ahead to court. And if they prove yes, then I'll say, hey, you know what? I was wrong.
Yeah.
But guess what? That hasn't happened. And you guys look up to Mike Lindell, who's a moron, and Dinesh D'Souza, who's a felon, who was sued for 2,000 mules. You guys look to those two clowns for the answers. Again, what you're saying has never been proven at a court of law. And Donald Trump is the only president in American history that has not conceded an election.
Yeah.
Doesn't that?
Because he didn't lose it.
Does January 6th happen? Does January 6th happen if he concedes? Yes or no?
Ben, we got to get
That's
you
a good
back
question.
on that.
Okay, that's a good question. I can't answer the. I don't know. I mean, it's hypothetical.
I like how his guy in the background's like, hey, we got to get you out of here. Yeah, because you're getting embarrassed. That's why. Listen, I'm going to try to get Ben to come on the show. Say what you want about him. He is a pretty popular guy on the right. I do appreciate the fact that he at least stopped and was willing to talk to me, and he was respectful to me, probably more than I was to him. But the reason why I didn't walk away and the reason why I kept going is because I was embarrassing him with facts, and it proved again that he is a hypocrite when he comes to his religion. But, we'll try to get Ben Berkholm on the show. He is a big name on the right. So that night, I was having dinner with all the UNF America Tour people. We went to a local restaurant. And as I'm having dinner at that restaurant, this drove me nuts. Some right-wing turd who is a Donald Trump supporter tried to get in my face while I was having dinner. And he started making racist comments about Muslims and just a complete tool. Now, anybody who knows me knows I am not going to just sit there and take it. And I thought the way he came up to the table was extremely rude. Now, I wasn't recording this. I'm happy that somebody else did because I think it's got like 200,000 views in like 12 hours. I want to play you this video. This is the video of a random person. I don't know who this person is. I don't even remember his name still, who decided to come up to us and be very rude at a restaurant. Watch this.
I don't care what you are. You support a rapist.
Scott's in the UK.
No, wait, you support a rapist.
I support whatever's going to be effective. As
So you think a
China.
rapist can be effective? That's all you care about? You're hip. You're hypocrisy.
You're a
is joke.
rude man.
No, you're rude because you came up here and you started attacking her and all liberal women when you're the
No,
guy
I
who
just said
supports-
Islam. I was talking about Islam.
Okay, well, I care about American rapists.
Right,
That's who you
calm
support.
down your language. Come on.
No, I'm
You're
not
speaking
gonna
to
calm
another
down.
human.
I don't care.
What are you
You're
going
the
to do
one
about
who came
it?
up here. You're the one who came up
No,
here.
I don't care about here.
Okay, well, you come up here. Well, you didn't have to. You chose to say
Yeah.
liberal women, and you made a generalization. You support a rapist.
Why would I support a rapist?
Why? He's a liable sexual abuser. He's
not convicted.
Excuse me. I'm answering your question. Okay. Now
Is
you're
he
being rude.
convicted?
Are you gonna let me answer?
If he was a convicted rapist, he'd be in jail.
Are you gonna let me answer? Calm down, dude. Let me answer.
Yeah, go for it.
He's got 25 women that have accused him of sexual assault or rape, including his ex-wife, in a deposition. He is a liable sexual abuser who bragged about going into teenage girls' locker rooms. Now let me ask you a question. Do you have any kids? Do you have a daughter? Okay, let's just assume. I'm shocked, but let me just assume for a moment that you did. Hold on. Let's assume that you have a daughter. Donald Trump bragged about going into teenage girls' locker rooms. Okay, the guy ran a pageant. The women there, several of them have done interviews. He went in there in a sexual manner and bragged about it on the Howard Stern show. You're preaching to us about respecting women when the guy bragged about going into teenage girls' locker rooms.
So Islam is something very, very different.
You're a one-trick pony. You're a one-trick pony. What a hypocrite you are.
I understand this is turning into like a whole political debate, but I do think that we should bring it back to the original subject because he brought up some good points when it comes to the corona.
Good.
Yes. Are you a religious fundamentalist? Do you believe that people should be
We're not talking about my religious beliefs. We're talking about
I'm talking
very
about your
bold
opinion.
statements you're making that are very big generalizations. You want to talk about those? Because that's what I want to talk
I
about.
would love to talk
Okay,
about
then tell
them.
me
I'm
about-
saying that religious fundamentalism is bad in any country and people are easily radicalized by religion. He brought up good points about that. So I'm saying I agree with your points about Trump and his support of Trump, but I do think that he's making good points about
Just a
Islam.
tone check. Do you actually do you support ISIS and Muslims?
So anyway, you get the point. Then it was like a whole conversation at the table, and the guy stopped talking after I went up. He comes up to our table so rude, and then he's saying I'm being rude. First of all, don't interrupt my dinner. I'm enjoying a burger with some nice company. That's number one. And number two, if you're going to interrupt us, don't spew your right-wing pathetic garbage. So I really wasn't having that. There were a lot of people like that in Phoenix downtown, everywhere you walked. I just wanted to be very clear on that. So I did do a bunch of debates in front of the at the Un-F America tour tables. I was just randomly talking to different people, and I was getting interviewed by some podcaster that I've never heard of before. And then the topic of Russia comes in, and there's one of these young Republican morons makes the case that Kamala is the reason why Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, which just I just lost my mind when he started to make that statement. This is absolutely and positively mesmerizing. It's absolutely crazy. So have a listen to this. This is video where I was doing some debates in front of AmFest, and this got a little crazy. Watch this. It's unprecedented for anybody to be treating a pedophile like that. What's the matter? You want to be on camera?
No, I said you do not even have on.
I don't?
Yeah, you're missing it.
Oh, okay. I was just recording.
All right, guys. Do you have anything to say?
Regarding the things you said about Trump made promises to end the war in 24 hours.
Did he do that?
You have to realize that being a president means you're constantly negotiating. So that's a political.
How are those negotiations gone with Vladimir Putin?
Well,
Give me one sanction.
Saying that you're going to end the war in 24
He said
hours
that.
is
I
a
didn't say it.
political negotiation.
Okay, but
And
he said
And you're
that.
trying to incite
He lied.
so that the other side actually ends
Did he end the war in 24 hours? Yes or
No,
no?
he didn't.
So did he lie?
No.
He didn't
Because
lie.
he's having a political negotiation.
Okay, and how's that negotiation going? Give me one sanction that.
We've had a lot more talk with Russia.
I didn't ask you about the talks. It doesn't matter if it doesn't produce results. What results has Donald Trump done, and what has Russia given up? Give me one thing that they've given up.
Maybe I can't right now.
You can't, because he hasn't given up anything, because he's supposed to be the great negotiator.
Trump has tried his best, though.
Yeah,
He's
but
tried his
he's under
best.
8 wars in a span of 9 months.
He's tried his best. So if I said Joe Biden's tried his best, what would you say?
His war to end, but he's
Who started the war? Who started this war?
Kamala Harris.
And Okay, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. So I'm not even going to address that stupid statement. He said Ukraine started the war, and he called Vladimir Zelensky a dictator. Will you call that bullshit out right now?
Well,
Will you call it out?
Kamala
Yes or
Harris
no?
went to the Munich Security
I'm not
Conference
listening to this
right
guy. He
after
says
the war
Kamala started the war. You're not a serious person. I don't know. What are you, 16? Who started the war? You said Russia. I appreciate. I don't care. He's saying Kamala Harris started the war in Russia. It's the dumbest. Vladimir Putin has murdered people. He's calling Kamala Harris a murderer. He can go fuck himself. Bye-bye, dude. Bye-bye. All right, that's the end of it. As you can see, I got very upset. I was not happy. And the reason why I wasn't happy, well, a lot of different reasons. Number one, how can you be that stupid to say that Kamala Harris started the war? You're calling Kamala Harris a murderer. The person who is responsible for starting this war is a guy by the name of Vladimir Putin, who happens to be an evil, murderous dictator. That's the guy who's responsible for this. How somebody could come up with the conclusion that it's somehow the former vice president's fault is so dumb. They're so lost. And that's why sometimes I just lose it, because these people are so stupid. It's insane. And, you know, listen, I met a really nice young man out there who did not want to debate. And that's totally fine. Nobody has to debate. Especially, you know, listen, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't involved in politics. I give these people credit for wanting to get involved. That's a good thing. It'd be nice if they were informed. But this was kind of funny because I ran into one young man who actually paid $250 to get debating lessons from Andrew Wilson. And then he actually didn't want to debate at all, which I found kind of insane. Listen to this exchange that I had with this young man. It's kind of funny.
It just breaks down like common debate tactics and like fallacies, and it goes through basics of debate. I wanted to take it because like I'm just like an analytical person, I like debating, and just trying to get my thoughts together and know how to actually debate.
How much did it cost?
It was around $250.
And how long was the class?
I don't remember. It took me a few weeks to get through it. So
Did he teach you how to open up an olive jar?
No.
Did he teach you how to lick sniz?
No.
No, he didn't do that. So what did you actually learn other than him debate, you know, tactics to try to win a debate rather than trying to win an argument, which I think is because he cares so much about winning in his mind, but in my personal opinion, he doesn't talk about the actual topic, which is Trump or policy. He just talks about where he gets his ethics from. He talks about where he gets his foundation from, but he never answers a direct question. Did he tell you to smoke cigarettes in the middle of a debate on national television?
No.
He's very good at that.
I found it pretty helpful, to be honest.
It was.
Especially like just debating with friends and families. Like I know a little better how to just like form my arguments.
Yeah.
And just understand better where they're coming
Okay, so
from.
let's put this to the test.
Wait, hold on.
No, I'm not that good.
Do you declare victory at the end?
No.
He would tell you to declare victory
It
every
wasn't
time.
about winning. It's more like it's mostly about going through the debate structures, teaching you like the openings and the body of the debate.
Do you want to debate right now?
No, I'm not.
So
done.
Andrew Wilson, you charged $250 for this guy to give him advice, and with all due respect, he seems like a really nice guy. He does not want to have a debate. How much more money do you have to give this
Well,
grifter?
the reason why I wouldn't want to have a debate is because you need to practice. You really need to know what you're talking about. And I'm not
Fair
informed
enough.
in certain debates, but I love debating.
Fair
Don't get
enough.
me wrong. But against someone like you who actually knows what they're talking about, I'm an amateur.
Andrew would say I don't.
You know, so
I can't be mean to this guy. He's too much of a nice guy. I just can't do it. But Andrew, you stole $250 from him. You should be ashamed of yourself.
wait, hold on. You didn't steal $250.
In my opinion, he stole.
I found it very valuable.
All right, fair enough.
So.
So anyway, really nice guy. I didn't want to be mean to him, but if you're going to pay somebody for debating lessons or classes and then you don't want to debate people, I think it speaks volumes about the teacher or professor. So we'll leave it at that. So that was like 3 days straight. 3 days straight, I did a lot of debates. The majority of those debates, which are long form with people that were walking by, are up on my YouTube page and the Facebook Pushing the Limits fan page. They're also on my YouTube page at PTL Radio Show. Just probably hours of debates, and we're going to continue to put up more, but we put up a lot of them. And listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I had a good time. It was fun debating people and talking to people. I just didn't want to play you all the debates. I just wanted to play you a few highlights here and there. So we will be getting to AmFest here in a moment, the actual event. But as some of you may or may not be aware, the main reason why I went out there was for the UnF America tour. We had scheduled an event at, it was a pretty cool bar, actually, Dan Marley's bar out there in Phoenix. It was like literally right across the street from the Phoenix Suns play. And the event had multiple debaters. I was one of them. Alex Stein did show up. He was a man of his word. And then after the last debate, which was between me and Alex Stein, Myron Gaines and Andrew Wilson were supposed to show up and debate Adam Mockler and Destiny. Well, they pulled out last second reasons. And listen, I'm not going to get into the weeds on why they didn't show up or what happened or what didn't happen. But both parties were not very happy. And without getting into the weeds there, because I'm not sure anybody cares that's listening right now, the leader of the UnF America tour, Z, who's done this show plenty of times, who I think is a very nice person, saw Myron on the street there right in front of AmFest. And Myron decided to call her fat, called her the C word, called her a Jew. Z is also pregnant. I mean, just think about what a disgusting human being you have to be to call a woman fat when she is pregnant. It's just repulsive. So I was told by a few people that Myron was on an X space last night. I don't do spaces anymore because I think it's a complete waste of time. But I made an exception last night. And I addressed Myron on this issue and other issues because I thought the way he behaved was reprehensible. We shouldn't be surprised. And then he was wearing a shirt that day that was mocking those that were killed in the Holocaust. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that. So I wanted to try to be calm, even though it's very difficult when you're talking to people like this. And I tried to have a respectful conversation with him. And I tried to get him to apologize. And I tried to. And I tried. And I tried. It didn't work out very well, but here's a bit on how it went down.
Or whatever her name is the one that really ruined everything.
So, Myron, I'm not here to call you names. I'm hoping we can have a respectful conversation.
Sure.
We both have said some insulting things to each other. I'm not interested in doing that now. Here's what I will say, and this is just my personal opinion. I don't speak for okay, Myron. You didn't want to talk about Trump, and that's your prerogative. You don't have to talk about Trump. But just understand, Myron, that's going to be a topic of discussion. I mean, we're at AmFest, right? And you have to be able to at least talk. I know that's not your thing. You want to talk about other stuff, and that's fine. But you have to be able to talk about Donald Trump. Here's my second opinion, Myron. If you don't like somebody, again, that's your prerogative. But why would, listen, I know you're not, why would you call somebody fat who's pregnant? Myron, come on, dude. That's got nothing to do with religion. That's got nothing to do with your worldview on anything. In fact, you've actually talked a lot about how important it is for women to have kids. You've said that to me and be mothers. Z is pregnant. Can you at least admit that that was over the line? Can we just at least start there?
So here's the thing. So with the whole Trump thing, right? Again, this was supposed to be a 2v2 debate, right? On authoritarianism and Trump and some. I said, all right, I'll agree to it. Andrew wants to talk about it too. Whatever, we're down. She was being really rude to the guys setting this all up on Uncensored America, even though we were doing them a favor. And then I tried to actually save the debate. I got notified last that it was canceled. So I was like, what? So I called Andrew. I actually tried to salvage it. She didn't want to define authoritarianism, and she didn't want to allow us to have a 5-minute monologue in the beginning where we give our positions. So I was like, okay, if you don't want to do that, then Andrew doesn't want to do it, and whatever, I won't do it either. I'm like, it is what it is, and that's what happened. So we didn't do anything, bro. We tried to make the debate better. We tried to make it, legitimate and and more, I guess, academic. She didn't want that. She wanted to clip farm, and she wanted 3-minute rounds. She wanted us to do a crossfire Q&A with the people in the stands. That's not what we're there for. We're there to debate Destiny and Adam Mockler. We don't care about
I'm not.
audience.
Listen, Myron, I'm not an organizer. I didn't set up the rules.
But it's important that you understand the context. It's very important that you understand that context. Critical stuff.
Okay, but Myron, here's my point. Even if that is all true, okay? Even if that is true, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know. Even if you're telling the truth and all that's true, why do you have to go that far to call her the C word and fat? Like, why can't you just say, if that's your opinion, then just go with that? And I don't know what the truth is. Maybe it's somewhere in between. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an organized. I didn't organize it. I didn't come up with the debating rules. I'll be honest with you. I would have liked to have seen you debate, Destiny and Adam Mockler. I'm not a big.
I've debated
Andrew
Destiny a million
Wilson.
times, and then I think
I know
Adam
that.
Mockler might do. I've debated that. I've had him on my show a million times. So and
I'm just saying I would have liked to have seen it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not a big Andrew Wilson guy. I'll be honest with you. I debated him a few weeks ago. I've been on Pierce Morgan with him. I'm not a big Andrew. I think his debates are boring. I mean, one thing you do is you bring a lot of controversial things to the table. Andrew's boring, in my opinion, but that's for another time.
He's very sharp and he's smart. He knows what he's talking about, and I know that.
Well, you can be smart, but
I know that gets
I understand.
off, and that's what she just wants, like, a bunch of clip farming, and it is what it is. But she's the one that ruined that debate, bro. We were down to do it. She just was being very difficult. So it is what it is.
Well, listen, here's what I will say. They were sold out. There was standing room only. It was a good event.
Yeah, we were
well.
That's why half the people that were us. Like that's
well, listen. It was half and half. There were Republicans and Democrats in there. All I'm saying, it was a good event, and I'm sure there'll be more. And maybe you guys can talk it out. I don't know. Byron, going back to what I said earlier, I know there's a lot of Republicans you don't like, and you don't give a shit what their opinions are. But there's a lot of people that are saying, and I'm trying to talk to you like a human being here, right? When you call somebody,
that's fine.
Well, you of all people would understand that it's a show. This isn't a show. This is you and I talking man to man now. You know that. We've had conversations off stage. This is me talking to you, not show Brian and not show Myron. You called her the C word and fat. Can you just at least, okay, maybe you went a little bit over the line there and maybe that was inappropriate?
Man, I'll tell you this, man. I will take this opportunity to apologize for absolutely nothing. That, bro.
So there you go. That's who Myron is. I tried to get him to at least come to some sort of agreement where, calling a woman fat if she's pregnant, the C word, over the line. And he wouldn't. And by the way, the reason why we had a sold out crowd there was not because of Myron and Andrew. You want to know why? Because we were handing out flyers with my name on it, with Destiny's name on it, with Mockler's name on it, and others. Their names weren't on any of the flyers. The reason why it was sold out there, standing room only, and it was packed. And I have the videos and the pictures to prove it, and you can see the debate with me and Alex Stein, which I think was quite entertaining. It wasn't much of a debate, but that's another story. But Myron, again, is making it all about him. They showed up because of me, even though I wasn't there, which is obviously not the case. And when you're going to have a debate with somebody at AmFest, Donald Trump's the president of the United States. If you're not capable of talking about Donald Trump, then I wouldn't have their lame asses in there to begin with. So I think the right decision was made. Now, here's the part of this space that I think is quite entertaining. As you know, this shows Myron to be the embarrassment that he is. As you know, Myron likes to call everybody gay. Myron likes to call out homosexuals, and that's like he uses homophobic slurs, which I think is reprehensible, by the way. Now, I've made claims, and so have others, that Myron might be in the closet himself. By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. And he hates it when I make those references. I've posted pictures of him with half-naked men. By the way, not my lifestyle, but doesn't bother me at all. But when you hate on people who happen to be gay, and then you might be gay yourself, I think that speaks volumes on who Myron is. And yes, I do think Myron is a closet homosexual. So we got into that conversation, and Myron has made claims that the reason why he's seen in half-naked pictures with men in bed is because they were on his college sports team, and it was camaraderie. I don't know about you, but if you're not gay, is that what you do? Like, I'll give somebody a high five, maybe. I don't know, a fist pump. But if you're not gay, do you cuddle half naked with men? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the pictures of Myron prove that. Now, I didn't know what sport Myron played, but Myron claimed that I didn't have any athletic abilities. And I explained to Myron that I played 2 Division I college sports, and I played 5 sports in high school, and I went to college for free because of my athletic abilities. Now, I did not know what sport Myron played, but this is absolutely insane. Myron Gaines is claiming that me being a Division I tennis player is, quote, gay. He thinks tennis players are gay. And then we find And then we find out the college sport that Myron played. And this is where it got very funny. And then I think that this is when I left the room because he kicked me out because Myron Gaines was exposed once again. Have a watch and listen to this. Listen, I've never been in a bed with a man. I've never been in bed with a man half naked, and I posted multiple videos. Well, I posted multiple pictures of you in a bed with half naked men, and then your response to that is, "Bro, you've never been on a team before." Bro, I was on a college scholarship. I played 2 Division I college sports.
What sport did you play? Coin clipping or what?
I played 2. No. I mean, I don't know. I played college tennis. Does that not count? Does that not count? College tennis doesn't count.
Tennis is kind of gay, but
that doesn't
count.
That doesn't count. Tennis is gay.
It's kind of
gay. What are you talking about,
bro?
You realize you sound like a 10-year-old when you talk like that, Myron. I'm trying to be respectful.
Who are the most known athletes of your sport, bro? It's what?
Tennis.
Black women.
Sure,
on, man. Black women.
Well, on the women's side, not on the men's side. You're talking about the Williams sisters on the men's side. We could talk about Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, John McEnroe, Bjorn Borg, all not black, by the way. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
The point I'm trying to make is well, number one, no one cares about tennis, bro. Let's just keep it real.
Okay, well, you said I didn't play sports, and I went to college for free because of my athletic abilities.
And I don't know how the hell, because bro, you're well, maybe you stop going to the gym. I don't fucking know.
Five sports in high school, including basketball, including hockey. I was a pretty darn good basketball player. Okay, well, you said I didn't play any sports. I have more experience in athletics than you do, and more
whatsoever. But the point I'm trying to make is this, bro.
It doesn't matter what I look like. It matters what my accomplishments are. If you want to talk about relevancy in sports, I'm more relevant than you when it comes to athletic ability. I can tell you what I've accomplished.
Sure you are.
I went to college for free.
Sure you are.
I've never been in a bed half naked with a man
where'd you go to
holding
school?
someone.
Where'd you go to school again?
Central Connecticut State University.
Bro, dude, I went to that school for 1 year and I left.
Connecticut. I know that.
Yes, I know exactly. I went there for a year and I left. That school sucks. What the fuck?
Okay, well, you can think. Did you go to school for free because of your athletic abilities?
No, actually, it's interesting.
Did you play college sports?
You know, I did. Yes, I had a scholarship and I had an academic scholarship too.
For what? Tell me. Where'd you go?
I went to Northeastern, a way better school than CCSU, because I went to CCSU for a year and I transferred from there.
My father went to Northeastern. How many sports did you play there? What'd you play?
I was a Division I rower over there, which is way harder than tennis. Rowers are way
you're
better
talking to me about being gay. Hold on a second. Let's backtrack. So tennis is gay, but rowing is manly? Are you fucking kidding?
Are you fucking retarded? Rowing is 10 times harder. Rowing is
Myron was a professional rower.
Well, it's not professional. You're Division I, but rowing, my friend, is way harder than tennis. It's not even close.
No wonder. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I owe you an apology, Myron, because I thought your arms and your. No, listen. I owe you an apology. I admit when I'm wrong. I thought the reason why your wrists and arms were so powerful because of other reasons. You were a professional rower. I'm sorry. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And you're right. Rowing is far more manly than tennis. You're right. Tennis is gay.
Way more grueling and harder sport. Way harder and more grueling. Yeah. Not even.
No, you're right. Did you get a lot of chicks? Hey, did you pick up chicks on the college? Hey, look out, man! I'm on the rowing team. Did that work for you?
Well, here's the thing. So it's funny that you say that because it's more of an Ivy League / private school / higher IQ thing. Obviously, you're a retard. You were down at CCSU. You were basically like a fucking stepping school. Dude is literally flexing.
When I think of manly sports, rowing is the first sport I think of.
Hold on, bro. You're saying you played tennis at CCSU?
I did. Tennis and golf.
Dude, there's no, why are you lying? There's no fucking Division I tennis.
Yes, they're not now because the sport is not there anymore because they lost the men's tennis team, dude.
I'm looking right now.
Nope. I'll make you a $1,000 bet right now. I'll make you a $1,000 bet right now on your ex right now. Would you like to make a bet right now?
It's a club team is what I see. I literally
look it was not a club team when I played. It was not a club team when I played.
And when the fuck was that?
We were in the North.
What year was this?
Division. I graduated. I'm 45 years old now, so that would be around 2002. I might be off by a year. I'm not lying. I played Division I college tennis for Central Connecticut State University. That is not a lie, and there is no longer a men's and women's tennis team, as far as I know.
All right,
as far as I know.
Honestly, dude, we're talking about
not whatever.
Sports from 10, 15 years ago is whatever, but I find it interesting that you, as a progressive, are trying to call me gay right now because you know what's funny about
you call everybody gay.
No, here's the difference. Here's the difference. You are supposed to defend the gay rights. You are supposed to be
I do.
progressive.
I do.
So let me get this straight.
I do.
If I was actually gay, wouldn't you be a bigot by calling me gay?
So let me respond to this real quickly. You notice how defensive he got? First of all, there's nothing wrong with being gay. I've even said that about Myron. What there is something wrong with is if you are gay and you attack people for being gay. That's who I think Myron is. Do you see how defensive he gets there? And by the way, he knows that. And then he's trying to call me gay, which is like a 10. First of all, homophobic slurs are horrible. I mean, who talks like this? Maybe people talked like this when they were 10 years old. And he's trying to say, I don't know, I guess he's trying to say tennis isn't a manly sport or something. I don't know. And then Myron says he was a rower. Now, he's trying to say, nobody cares about tennis. Can anybody out there name a professional rower? Can anybody out there name a college rower? I know I can't. So if there's I think tennis is a little more relevant in American sports than rowing is. All due respect to rowers out there, if you're going to mock somebody for being a tennis player, you probably shouldn't do that. And the relevancy of tennis, which is a pretty big sport in this country, I don't think rowing is. Is there anybody that can make a living in this country being a professional rower? No, people in this country make a lot of money being a professional tennis player. So that was the point that I was trying to make. And once again, Myron making himself out to be the complete moron that he is. Here's the bottom line. Myron wore a shirt that was mocking those that were murdered in the Holocaust, which is absolutely reprehensible. He called a pregnant woman fat, the C word, and called her a Jew. It's reprehensible. He wouldn't apologize for it. The only reason why Myron is making any sorts of money at all, and sadly he is because he has a lot of stupid followers of his that are also bigots. That's really the only reason. It's not because he's talented. He just says a lot of horrible, outlandish things. And sadly, in our society right now, that's a way to become popular and make money. I was walking through the halls at AmFest because Myron tried to big time me during that discussion last night. Oh, I'm doing you a favor by having me on. I was walking through the halls. I did 8 podcasts. People came up to me. I did TV. I did OAN. I did CNN. And people were coming up to me asking me, because they respected me, even though they might have disagreed with me on a number of different issues, and I'm sure they did. I can tell you, Myron didn't do 10 podcasts. CNN did a brief interview with him. Myron wasn't doing any podcasts in there. I was. So if Myron wants to talk about relevancy, maybe he should look in the mirror a little bit. The only reason why anybody listens to him, his useless, racist, bigoted followers, the only reason why people are listening to him is because he says horrible things about black people. He says horrible things about Jews. He says horrible things about women being second-class citizens. Myron is a really bad guy. And I criticize Turning Point USA because originally he wasn't allowed in the venue. And then I guess he made some phone calls and they allowed him in. He takes a picture with Jack Posobiec wearing that shirt that is mocking Holocaust, people in the Holocaust. So, and by the way, to my knowledge, Myron isn't even his real name. So, sorry, Myron, you were embarrassed for being some sort of, I don't know, semi-professional rower, but you want to mock other people for playing tennis. It's very strange. Notice how defensive Myron gets when everybody calls him a closet homosexual, so I will continue to do that. Not because I'm mocking homosexuals, because I'm mocking Myron. Because Myron is the first person to attack people that are gay. He uses homophobic slurs, which I don't use. And I believe Myron is in the closet himself. So Myron, congratulations. I've been talking to some people that are far more powerful than you know over at Turning Point, and they will not have you back there. You are going to be banned from that event for life. You're not coming back because of your behavior and because of your actions. A guy that has left-leaning views like me, who has attacked most of the people that were in that building, and they still gave me a credential, and they will have me back. They don't want you back. So I think we know who the real relevant person is in this conversation. Guess what? It's not you. Good luck with your rowing. Now, going to the actual AmFest situation, obviously the big debate that was out there was the Tucker Carlson-Ben Shapiro, squabble that they had with one another. Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on his show, and a lot of people like Ben Shapiro were saying that you shouldn't have given him a platform. I think Tucker and Ben Shapiro are wrong. I'll start with Ben Shapiro. If Nick Fuentes was willing to do this show right now, I would have him on. He's a despicable human being. Back in the day when O.J. Simpson was alive, I would have had O.J. Simpson on. I believe O.J. Simpson is a double murderer. But I have these people on to expose them, to question them, and to push back. I don't have a problem with Tucker Carlson giving Nick Fuentes the platform. I have a problem with Tucker Carlson not pushing back on Nick Fuentes. So I think they're both wrong. Ben Shapiro's had people on his program that are very controversial, bad people. But he doesn't have a problem with that. He only has a problem with Nick Fuentes because Nick Fuentes is an anti-Semite, because that's all Ben Shapiro cares about. You could be a womanizer, you could be a misogynist, you could be Donald Trump, that's totally okay. But if you attack Jewish people, that's when Ben Shapiro decides to get involved. They're both idiots, they're both wrong, they're both hateful people. To me, this is a clip that says it best, and it's why I call Turning Point a Klan-type event. I felt like I was at a Klan rally, and regardless of how nice people may or may not have been to me, 99% of the people that were at AmFest were white people. There was no diversity or very little at AmFest. And it felt to me, just like it felt to me at almost every Trump event that I've ever been to, like a Klan rally. And here's, to me in a nutshell, the one soundbite that will tell you what AmFest was all about. This is J.D. Vance making the case of, how the victimhood of white people. Listen to this.
In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore.
Okay, so first of all, who is asking white people to apologize for being white? Name me a politician or a prominent person that's saying, you're white, you should apologize for being white. So I don't know what the hell J.D. Vance is talking about, number one. Can you imagine for a moment if you were a fly on the wall at Usha's parents' house listening to that speech? Usha obviously being a woman of color. Can you imagine what that must have been like? What a disgrace J.D. Vance is. But to me, in a nutshell, that describes what this entire conference was, what this entire event was, what AmFest stood for. They think that being white, you're being victimized in this country. These are some of the dumbest people that America has to offer. And by the way, J.D. Vance knows that that's not true. He knows that's not true. But he also knows that the base of Klan supporters that were in the crowd would clap. That's really all he cares about. Really? Actually, I have a clip that might even be better than that. So when Erika Kirk was speaking about her late husband, Charlie Kirk, she had a little bit of a Freudian slip. Now, as you know, I've called Erika Kirk a grifter for a very, very long time. Way before Charlie Kirk was murdered. I want you to listen to Erika Kirk on stage yesterday. Might be the Freudian slip of the year. Watch this.
Despite the devastating loss of Charlie Kirk, my incredible husband at UVU, Caleb has persisted with the same gift. Grit. It has been a long day. Trust me, you're not a grifter, honey. It's all good. Despite the devastating...
Erika Kirk using a Freudian slip, calling her late husband, Charlie Kirk, a grifter. Now, I don't believe that was by accident. I'm not saying she did it on purpose, but certainly that's a Freudian slip. I think if you want to find the biggest grifter in that building, there were many of them. Erika Kirk, at least in my personal opinion, is certainly one of them. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're kind of going to reset things for you a little bit, and then we're going to take your phone calls right now, 702-221-7283, and again, that number call. If you would like to be a part of the conversation, now's the time to do it. I gave you some explanations, for lack of a better term, or conversations that I had with some of the biggest right-wing influencers and right-wing names out there. I spent some time talking with Michael Knowles. I spent some time talking with Jack Posobiec. I had people coming up to me at dinner saying not so nice things to me, and I fired back. Ran into Cam Higbee, Nick Sortor, Kevin Smith, Ben Berquam, a lot of people on the right that I had conversations with. Most of them went well. Some of them did not go so well. And we are now going to discuss it all together as a PTL family, whether you agree or you disagree with me. The number to call again if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283. Your call's next, whether you agree or you disagree with me. We're going to talk about it. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
You are way too smart, way too talented, way too good to be where you are. You are meant to be making way more money, feel way hotter in your body, and having way more fun. Hi, I'm Nicole Mitchell, and I'm a life coach. I help you get hotter and richer. If that is what you're looking for, you can find me at NicoleMitchell.com. My name, Nicole, is with a K, NicoleMitchell.com. You can reach out to me on my website or on Instagram, and I will be happy to be in touch and figure out what you're looking for and how I can support you in getting there.
Here's the deal. The country's a mess, and America's youth is stuck at the center of a tug-of-war between propaganda, billionaires, and political clowns who think TikTok is a national security threat, yet can't open their own email. But the real threat that keeps them up at night isn't TikTok. It's the power of the youth vote, and that's what the Unfuck America Tour is after. We're traveling the country, hitting campuses and cities, exposing the right wing's playbook and calling out all the tricks they use to hook young people. We saw the youth vote shift in 2024, and if we don't reclaim that momentum now, we lose the future. Our future. We're not bankrolled by billionaires, corporations, or dark money. We're backed by regular people like you, who won't sit back while the rich strip this country for parts. We need you to help us stay on the road to push back against the misinformation machine. Click the link in the description or head over to unfuckamericatour.com to donate, because nobody else is coming to fix this mess.
All right, welcome back. Pushing the Limits on a Monday. The schedule for the show, we're going to be live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, taking Thursday off, of course, Christmas, and taking Friday off. I'm going to need some well-deserved rest. As you can see, my voice is a little cracky. I was doing a lot of talking, a lot of yelling. Actually, the debate with Alex Stein was kind of fun. It was kind of, it wasn't really a serious debate. I will be playing some of those clips, and we'll be posting some of that debate up probably later today and probably tomorrow. We'll probably post that, but it was fun. Listen, I don't think Alex is a bad guy. I appreciated him coming by. I know he wasn't feeling great. It was more of a comedy show more than a debate. I mean, I did try to talk about some of the issues with him, but it was kind of a good break for me because I debating, policy for like 2 days straight, and it was nice just to be able to laugh a little bit. Alex is not the most serious of people. And I know Alex personally. He's not a big Donald Trump guy. He's not a big MAGA guy. He just plays one on TV. But it was fun to catch up with Alex. It was nice to see some of the people that I mock every day in person and have conversations with them. I have some good news for you. I just received a text from right-wing influencer Ben Bergam, who has agreed to come on the show Wednesday. That is going to be an all-out, duke-it-out debate. He actually is a serious guy as far as his belief system, even though I'm not a big fan of his politics, but I'm happy that he has agreed to come on the show. And this is part of the reason why I went out there, so we could get these people to come on the show. So Ben Bergam is going to be doing the show Wednesday. Tomorrow we have Ron Filipkowski to start the show. Here is a really interesting story for you before I take calls. As you know, Ryan Shedd is a friend of the show, and Ryan does this show a lot, and I'm good friends with Ryan. I think he's a great guy. So Ryan went on social media over the weekend, and I was supposed to meet Ryan out there at AmFest. He went on social media over the weekend, and he was talking about ICE agents, and he said if an ICE agent doesn't identify themselves and they like break into your home or something, you have the right to use deadly force. And he would be on their side. The FBI knocked on his door over the weekend for that tweet. Now he's going to talk to us about it. He was intimidated a great deal. And I feel bad for Ryan because, by the way, I agree with him, and I don't feel like he said anything wrong. But anyway, that's what happened. So Ryan Shedd is going to be joining us on the show tomorrow to talk about that, to start the show. And the great Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch. I have to say this too, hanging out with Mockler. Adam Mockler is such a great guy. He's such a good dude. He's such a humbling guy, to talk to. He'll talk to anybody. He's just such a good person. And it was kind of fun to hang out with Adam away from the show, away from politics. He's just a really all around, really good dude. Parker and Dean are, how should I put this? I don't have anything against them. I think they're nice people. They're obviously extremely intelligent. They're just very reserved, right? And Adam's not, and I'm not. So it's a little awkward when you're hanging out with someone that's reserved. And again, I like Parker. I like Dean. I think they're great. They're extremely intelligent. Parker's done this show before. Just maybe to hang out with them in a social setting was a little strange. And Mockler's kind of more my speed. But we all had fun, even though I couldn't get Mockler into the Michael Knowles party. I was able to get in a little bit later. But I had a good time all in all. It was fun. I'm not a big fan of Phoenix. I probably won't be going back there unless, AmFest. Maybe AmFest would be the only reason. But other than that, I can't think of another reason to go back to Phoenix. Maybe to catch a Suns-Celtics game. That would be about it. But, some of these guys are going to come on. Jack Posobiec gave me his personal information. So hopefully we can get Jack Posobiec on the show sometime soon. Kind of made, I wouldn't say amends, but shook hands and spoke respectfully to some people that I didn't think that would happen. So I guess that's a positive. That's a good thing. And it's for the sake of the show. For the most part, these are not people that I would go out with and drink a beer with. But to be on terms, at least where I can get these people on the show, I think that's good for the show. And I think that's a good thing. So I'm happy for that. And I am glad that I went. It was not a waste of time. I do want to take your phone calls at 702-221-7283. And I'm asking you guys a lot of different questions. What did you think about AmFest? What did you think about JD Vance basically claiming white victimhood? What did you make of the entire event? What did you make about Erika Kirk with a Freudian slip in using the term grifter? I thought that was actually kind of funny. And if any of you had the opportunity to see some of my debates, most of them are already up on my YouTube page at PTL Radio Show. They're also up on the Facebook fan page, which is Pushing the Limits. I want to get your comments on that as well. And, there's a lot of feisty people in the chat today, but usually they're cowards and they don't have the fortitude to be able to call in and disagree with me and have a conversation. Now's the time to do it. Oh, yeah. Also, Myron Gaines. What did you make of that appearance that I made on the Myron Gaines show yesterday, where he was attacking me and calling me, quote, gay for being a college tennis player? And then he started talking about his rowing prowess, how he was a rower. I don't think there's anything wrong with rowing, but if you're going to make fun of somebody being a tennis player, I think rowing is a little bit more irrelevant than tennis around the world, as far as I'm concerned, especially in this country. So yes, you can bring up Myron as well. And the statements he made to Z, calling her, I'm not going to repeat what he said. It's just horrible language and it's terrible. And it shouldn't be, it should be denounced by everybody. And Turning Point gave this guy a credential to their event, which is reprehensible. What does it take for these people to say, we're not going to have you in? If you're walking up there with a white hood, are they going to give you a credential? I mean, it's just insane. These people are not serious people. They should not be allowed to cover anything let alone a political event. It's awful. And I think it goes to show somebody like Myron Gaines would not be credentialed to the DNC, and he would not be credentialed to a large event. This is like their Super Bowl event. And to credential people like Myron Gaines, to me, it's utterly despicable, in my opinion. All right, going to get to the phone calls. 702-221-SAVE. Open phone calls, 702-221-7283. Let's start off with Chris. Chris is first up. What's up, Chris?
How's it going, Brian?
Good. What's up, man?
Since we're bringing comedy back here, I got to ask some kind of weird questions. Why don't you like Trump? He brought that comedy, right? You don't like to talk about Arnold Palmer's penis. You don't like 800% savings on medication. You don't like that he's keeping men out of women's dressing rooms. I mean, bathrooms. Bathroom, not dressing room. Sorry, that's a mistake there on my part. Sorry. You don't like that he exposed the fake Christians for who they are. You don't like that he's so comfortable with his daughter's beauty. He's comfortable about speaking about her sexually. Come on, Brian. How much to work with here?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I would. It's funny, but it makes me sad. It makes me sad that you're right. I mean, this is the person that the Republican Party has put on a pedestal. This is the person that they look up to as the next Messiah. This is the person that I like to call Cheeto Jesus. They call themselves Christians. Like, I'm doing this debate with Ben Berkman, and I played some of that debate, and he wears that cross, and I'm thinking to myself, how could you call yourself a good Christian? Or even somebody that anybody would respect when you support and literally curl yourself into a pretzel. Did you hear what he said? He defended the comments that Donald Trump made about Rob Reiner. I mean, it doesn't get more despicable than that, does it? It just doesn't.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. One of the biggest lies churches talk about is when they only talk about the Pharisees and Sadducees, then they only talk about them as religious leaders. They never talk about them as the political leaders that they were, because if they actually did, they recognize that Jesus actually spoke out against political leaders that exposed and they abused the people like this.
Well, I want to give you a story.
If you're going to have a conversation with Christians like this, look more into the Pharisees and Sadducees, my friend. I'm telling you. And look at Herod, how Jesus spoke to them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Bring this up, my friend.
I want to give you a story real quickly, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Chris, because I haven't talked about this publicly. So I was at the UNF America Tour event, which was sold out, and it was great. There were a ton of people there. And so I had just finished my debate with Alex Stein. And, Alex and I are giving each other high fives. It was entertaining. People seemed to enjoy it. It got the crowd going. And we're in the green room. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like for lack of a better term, it was like kind of like the backstage room where all the debaters will be and all that. So I'm sitting there at the table moments after my debate, and I don't even remember this guy's name. He was a guy that claimed he was from the Islam faith, and he says he's one of Myron Gaines' boys. And I said, uh-oh, here we go. He comes up to me and he says, this is what he said. I'm not making this up. He said, most Jews are bad people. He said that Hamas is not a terrorist organization. And I looked at him and I said, why don't you go F yourself before something really bad happens? Because I was getting pissed off, as I think anybody would, especially someone who is Jewish. And I'm getting ready to walk away, and he calls me the K word. I can't say the word on the air, and I wouldn't say it on the air. It's a slur directed towards Jewish people. I got up.
I know the word.
Alex Stein had to hold me back. I was ready to deck this guy in the face. I'm not much of a fighter. I don't condone violence. It takes a lot to get me at a level 10. I was red in the face, and I was ready to put him in the hospital. Alex calmed me down. The guy shouldn't have even been in the green room. He shouldn't have been there to begin with. And he was escorted out. And he is one of Myron Gaines' people. These are the types of people that we are dealing with. And it's not just about me. I'm not a victim here. I'm talking about everybody across the board. And you know what gets me more upset, Chris, than anything? I defend Muslims. I defended Muslims just last week in that horrible terrorist attack in Australia. I said, not all Muslims are bad people when these right-wingers out there are saying all Muslims should be deported. I've criticized the Israeli government. You guys know that. And for this guy to do what he did, and Alex said, listen, he's just trying to get you going. Well, okay. What would you say to a black person if a white person came up to them and called them the N-word? The African-American would have the right to be very upset. I was pissed off, and again, that was one of Myron Gaines' best friends, my understanding. So that's a little bit about what happened to me backstage at the show. Other than that, my experience was great. I had a really good experience there for 3 days, but that experience really taught me that there are some really awful, hateful people in the world, and some of them happen to be associated with Turning Point in the Republican Party.
Wow. No, I'm sorry that you even had to deal with that type of stuff. I'm actually familiar with the green room. I was a server at Tempe Improv, and I got to be Dave Rubin's personal server.
Oh, nice.
No kidding.
That's actually kind of cool.
No, he's the worst stand-up comedian I've ever seen in my life.
I'm not familiar with. Am I familiar with his work? I don't even know, but I do know this. The green room is an area where friends and family and people are supposed to be able to relax. Unfortunately, there were a few people in there that were just agitators that were trying to get their moment, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Well, Dave Rubin has been on Piers Morgan's show. You should know who he is.
I think I do by face. Yeah, I think I know.
He's a Republican, but he does stand-up comedy every once in a while, and I was his personal server. And so I'm very familiar with, right-wing grifters, and I mean, I'm from Minnesota, so I'm full of, surrounded by right-wingers in small-town Minnesota.
Right.
And, it's awful, because I deal with Christian hypocrisy constantly in my life. It's awful. I have been treated so awful in my life by Christians. And I call myself a Christian, but I can't anymore because the word is so perverted. But, you try to be Christ-like when you're surrounded by nothing but hypocrites and people who will defend the indefensible, all in the name of, abortion. Like when Andrew Wilson sat there and talked about the 600,000 babies that are being saved. Trump didn't save 600,000 babies. Abortions have gone up since Roe versus Wade ended. And he actually supported the 15-week abortion ban in Florida. So this is absolute hypocrisy on the Christians, Like, I'm like on the John Fugel thing side, I don't think, I don't like abortion, but I'm not going to sit here and regulate it. I'm not going to sit here and make laws about it. It's not something that Jesus made a strong issue about or ever. I don't think he even talked about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's the epitome of hypocrisy. And you see all these people walking into what I consider this event being a large Klan rally. You see them walking into this event with their crosses, and they're all like Caroline Leavitt's. They're fake Christianity. They walk in there and they praise Jesus and God, and they defend Donald Trump and curl themselves into a pretzel until the cows come home. They are all two-faced. As far as I'm concerned, so many of them are phony. And I've never been around so many ignorant white people in my entire life. It felt very weird and awkward. And I don't know. It felt very strange. But Chris, I do appreciate your call, my friend. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great Christmas.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Number to call 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the program, 702-221-SAVE. We're talking about my experiences in Phoenix at AmFest, my getting into it with Myron Gaines last night on his show, and a lot of people that I rubbed shoulders with and had conversations with: Jack Posobiec, Cam Higbee, Michael Knowles, David Pollock, Chad, the guy who assaulted me at a Tim Pool event. We actually had a conversation. Nick Sortor, Kevin Smith, and many others. So a lot of the right-wing talking heads I actually had conversations with, and it was interesting. Lucky Dragon is next up on PTL. Hi, Lucky Dragon. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? Just real quick, I'm a huge Andre Agassi fan.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with bald white tennis players who are gay. I mean,
Andre Agassi's not, by the way.
That guy said.
Andre Agassi used to date Brooke Shields, and Andre Agassi is married to the beautiful Steffi Graf. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, but yeah, I mean, Agassi.
There's nothing wrong with being closeted too, bro.
Right.
But you got me. It's a joke, man. I love you.
But thank you. I love you too, Lucky. And here's the funny part, right? Or the pathetic part. He's saying that somehow I'm quote unquote gay, or it's to be a tennis player. But he was a rower, as if rowing is more prevalent in this country than tennis. It's weird. All right, let's go to Al, 702-221-7283. Al, what's going on?
Hey.
What's up, Al?
Let's go to Al.
Al, do me a favor, lower your radio for me, okay, bud? Because we got like a little bit of a delay.
How you doing?
Doing good, Al.
What's up? From Hilo, Hawaii.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I do some chats. Well, I should not be online, by the way, because it is lovely weather today, so I feel pretty criminal.
Isn't it almost always lovely? It's almost always lovely in Hawaii, man. The weather there is beautiful.
It is, actually.
Yep.
My point, though, I voted Democrat and Republican off and on 50-50 evenly, basically since the 1980s.
Okay.
And I was hated by people. They thought I was the Antichrist because I voted for Clinton. They thought I was the Antichrist because I voted for Obama. And now I get to be the Antichrist 3 times plus Hitler and Mussolini because I voted for Trump. I am just, help me out, man. Everybody thinks I'm a Nazi and Hitler.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't.
No matter who I vote for.
No, listen.
The crazy right-wingers think I'm nuts.
Okay, but listen. Hang on. Let me jump in here. So first of all, let me just be clear. I don't. First of all, just because you voted for whoever you voted for, to be called Hitler is inexcusable, and I don't agree with that language. I want to be very clear on that.
Thank you.
There are people that, and again, I'm going to be respectful here. There are people that voted for Donald Trump that are not bad people. There are people that maybe were ill-informed. Maybe they were uneducated on some of the issues. Maybe they didn't get enough that they wanted from Kamala. I don't know. But it would be nice to know that for the people that did vote for Donald Trump, that maybe they could admit that it's not going the way they would have hoped.
Honestly, anytime I voted for a president, it's always a coin toss, no matter, and I'm not joking, and I'm not some rich elitist because I live in Hawaii.
Right.
No matter who I voted for, no matter who has been president, my money has never changed. How
much money do you make? Freedom. Well, what part of the tax bracket are you in? How much money do you make? If you don't mind me asking.
Okay. Fuck. Oh,
watch the language. Watch the language.
Sorry, I do apologize.
All right. Do you make? Would you say?
You
Would
put
you?
me in a spot.
Okay. I'm not trying to put you in a spot. Are you a wealthy man? We could leave it at that. Are you a wealthy man?
Yes. Most people by world standards would consider me.
Okay. We don't have to. You don't have to tell me how much money you make. I got you. So, did you vote for Donald Trump because you thought, and you were right? You're being a wealthy man. You would save money on your taxes. Is that a fair characterization?
No, I had no intention of that whatsoever.
Okay.
Actually.
All right. So you might have not have.
Was actually border based.
Okay.
It was actually about the border. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So would you say you were a one deal voter where the reason why you voted for Trump over Kamala was because you didn't like Kamala's border policies? Is that why you voted for Trump? Is that fair to say?
I will water it down to that. I will go for that.
Okay, so let's go to that. Let's
Because
start.
I honestly, I really didn't see any strength at all with Kamala, and I saw over strength.
Okay,
not heavy-handed, iron-fisted strength with Trump, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus."
Okay, but I don't think
At this point in life,
okay, but I don't think it's strength when we can get to this in a little bit. I want to keep talking to you about policy, but I don't think it's strength when you dodge the military and attack women on looks. I don't think there's anything powerful about that. I think it's the opposite. But let's go to the immigration. Did you vote
Biden dodged it 5 times, five-time deferment. Let's face it. Come on, rich guys are always going to fucking be able to.
Okay,
dodge.
watch the language.
Come on,
come on. Let's not swear. I want to have a conversation with you, but we're on the radio and you can't swear. So let's use proper language. Okay. All right. It's okay. It's all right. All right. Let's start over here. Okay. So when you, it's okay. All right. Let's okay. It's okay. Let's move on now. So we're talking about immigration. Did you vote for ICE agents not identifying themselves across the country, tackling people that have lived in this country for 20 or 30 years that are seeking asylum? Is that what you voted for? Nonviolent criminals being tackled outside of courtrooms and families being split apart? Is that what you wanted? People not getting due process, being sent to El Salvador prisons? Because that's not what our Constitution says. It says any person, not any citizen. Is that the way you wanted him to deal with this?
Oh, man, I can tell you there's probably a lot of things. All of the presidents that I voted for, both Democrat and Republican.
Okay, but we're not talking about. Okay, but hold on. Let's back up. Mm-hmm. I understand what you're saying. You don't agree with every. But hold on.
Pointed and answer that question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will say that no, I didn't vote for him to be that heavy-handed and getting.
Okay, good.
People that are actually really doing their best to legally try to be here.
Good.
But if they haven't done the job in the last 10, 20 years that they've been here, oops. I would expect the same thing if I was to go to Spain or any other country without papers.
Okay, but hold on. Let's backtrack.
Hey, I've been working here for 20 years.
I understand. Not everybody is you, but hold on. Okay, so you agree with me that you don't like the way Donald Trump is going about it. Okay, we can start there. Obviously, we have issues at the border, and Democrats.
I don't agree 100% with any president I've ever.
All right, I know, but the reason I brought that up because that was the main.
Crushed the border situation.
I know, but he hasn't, and we agree that he has not dealt with it the right way. And you said that was the main reason why you voted for him. What was your issue with Kamala Harris?
I agree. I will agree to the fact that he has crushed the border situation and that he has stopped all of the massive lines, parking lot lines of people coming in.
You will agree that undocumented immigrants, that you think that it hurts the economy, right? You care about the economy. Is that one of the and you care about crime, right? Crime and the economy. Would you say those are two big issues for you?
Yes, I
Okay.
would imagine that
Gotcha.
there are probably a lot of undocumented workers that have done actually very great things within the United States.
Well, obviously, I
I'm
agree
not
with
gonna
that. You're
be
making my
blind
point.
about that.
You're making my point for me. But if you care so much about the economy, then why would you vote for?
No, I'm not making anybody's point for them. I'm actually
No.
saying that there are a lot of good people that come here illegally, but the fact is, if you're here illegally, you've done something wrong in the first place.
It's a misdemeanor.
Cut and dry
It's
with
a
people.
misdemeanor. It's like crossing the street, jaywalking. It's a misdemeanor. Why would you, if you care about rule of law, then why would you vote for a guy who's a 34 count felon? You claim you care about rule of law. It's not even a felony.
Wait a second. How is he in office if he was convicted of all of those charges? Let's think about this.
Yeah. So in this country, there is a way to get around that, and that's why he was allowed to run, which, by the way, I disagree with. But the fact of the matter, are you saying that he's not a convicted felon?
Do I think that he raped those women? Not at all.
We're not talking about rape. That's a completely different case. We're talking about the fraudulent documents and the Stormy Daniels stuff. He was found liable for sexual abuse. He was not convicted criminally for rape, even though he was found liable for rape. He is a 34 count felon, a liable sexual
It's interesting
abuser.
how people will go to and believe a former porn star who is a drug addict who needed money.
Okay.
But that's
So why did he pay her?
argument.
Okay,
That's awesome too.
so why did he pay her $130,000 then? What do you think he did that?
I don't know.
You don't
I have
know.
all the
You think
answers.
out of thin air? Well, hold on.
Do you have the
You're
answer to that?
you're
Do you have
attacking.
the answer?
Hold on.
You have the
Hold on.
definitive answer.
Yes, I do. I have the definitive answer. He's a convicted 34 count
You're
felon.
fiscally
Hold on.
responsible.
Hold
That's
on.
why you wanted a $1.5 billion
Hold on.
Kamala Harris
Hold on.
failed
Hold on.
campaign to
You're
run the
changing the
country.
subject. Okay, that we're not talking
No,
about.
I'm just
no,
saying,
no.
I'm just
You're
saying.
you're deflecting.
No,
No.
I get.
Let's
to
get
cut
back
into-
on track.
I know it's your little radio program.
Okay,
but I get to
okay,
cut
hold on.
into-
So first of all, it's not a little radio program. I have 500,000 listeners a day. It's a pretty large program, so you're not going to diminish and call into my show and then say little radio program. I'm giving you the platform to have a conversation. Don't be disrespectful. I have not been disrespectful to you. You have hold on, hold on. You said that Stormy Daniels is a drug addict and you tried to demean her. I find that very interesting. So if you commit a misdemeanor, you're all guilty in this country, undocumented. But if you're a 34 count convicted felon that was proven in a court of law by a jury, and by the way, you claimed rape, that had nothing to do with the case. That was weird. You brought that up. He can't be guilty. He's innocent. But you want to demean.
I can't remember everything that's thrown at the guy.
So if you
All I
can't
know is that
remember,
he
so if you
seems to
so
escape
hold on.
everything
If
that's
you
thrown
can't
at him.
remember and you don't if you can't remember and you don't know anything about the case, why would you immediately defend Donald Trump? Because that's exactly what you just did.
Oh. So if we don't have perfect memories, then
If you don't have memory, if
we
you
can't have an
no,
argument.
nope, I didn't say that.
This
If
gets-
if you don't know anything
Thank
about
you
the
for flexing
if you
with your
don't know
500,000
anything,
subscribers.
sir, you can laugh and be disrespectful. I'm going to give you
You're
another opportunity.
flexing from
Pot him
the
down.
mainland.
Pot him down. Sir, you just admitted you didn't know anything about the case. You thought it was rape, and that's why I said 34 count felon. My point that I'm trying to make, and I don't think you're smart enough to understand it. And then he hung up the phone because he's an imbecile. By the way, we didn't hang up on him. He proved that he is an imbecile and he didn't know what he was talking about, and he hung up the phone. I want to be very clear on that. So he didn't know anything about the case. He openly admitted that. But yet the first thing, did you hear the first thing he did with that Tucker Carlson laugh of his, is he defended Donald Trump and he attacked a woman because he's a misogynist. I can hear it in his voice. But when it comes to a bunch of brown people that are in this country that have committed a misdemeanor, you could also call it a misdemeanor if you're jaywalking, okay? He immediately attacks those people. But when it comes to Donald Trump being a 34 count felon, liable sexual abuser, he defends because he's another ill-informed and uneducated Donald Trump voter who sounds like he's a misogynist pig and a racist and also a coward, just like Donald Trump dodged the military. And then he wants to bring up Joe Biden. Donald Trump is the guy who had a doctor who made up the fact that he had bone spurs, but then he wants to bring up Joe Biden. Again, another ill-informed and uneducated Donald Trump voter. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Donald Trump's base. In fact, I think I saw that guy at AmFest wearing a white hoodie. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jason. Jason is next. What's up, Jason?
First of all, I just enjoyed my first Hanukkah. The 8th day, we did lighting all the menorahs and stuff. That was really cool. So I really, and Myron Gaines, if I've ever seen him, I punch him in the throat, try to kill him, because he can't talk about Jews like that, because I know too many. And one of my a potential first wife was Jewish, and no matter what, I always have love for her. So Myron Gaines, if he could, he should be put under hell, not even in hell, under hell. But more than that, I disagree on one part. In male locker rooms, high school, college, and even, say, in Staten Island, the Bronx, Brooklyn, there's still people still using those derogatory words as far as this showing somebody's sexual orientation. And as a matter of fact, it's supposed to be used to diminish your masculinity. And so they're not 10 years old, they're not 12 years old, they're 21, 25, 30. So I just wanted to let you know, I know you think that people are not using that language and it's defamatory, but a lot of people, especially men, especially in all male places, they're still using that word as a derogatory to make somebody feel less than. Other than that, you did a great job. I'm glad you destroyed all the MAGA mushroom gobblers. I enjoyed listening to it. But like I said, Myron Gaines is a disgrace to anybody and the only reason why he's popular is because of Fresh and Fit, and he puts down women, and anybody that's a misogynist joins and loves to watch his streaming. That's the only reason why he's popular. Other than that, he doesn't even have a brain. I digress.
Yeah, I agree, Jason. And isn't it sad that we're living in a day and an age right now where if you say horrible things about a religion, horrible things about minorities, somehow you can become a Candace Owens. You could become a Myron Gaines. You can become a Laura Loomer, because that's really who all these people are. They're a bunch of grifters who spread hatred and lies. And sadly, they develop a following because of that. And this is very dangerous in this country. These people are very, very dangerous because they have large platforms and they incite violence, quite frankly. And it's very dangerous.
Yeah, but you also forget one thing. Donald Trump said it. He made it cool. Remember when he said, "If you're Jewish and you don't vote for me, you got to be crazy." Yeah. That's the whole point. So then that gave all these crazy people a right to say, "If you're Jewish and you didn't vote for Trump, I could be racist against you." Because Donald Trump is racist against the whole country. If you ain't white, if you ain't a white male, he's against you.
Listen, I took a lot of flack for saying this about a year and a half ago, and I'm going to say it again. A year and a half ago, when I went to a Trump rally in Vegas and some of my videos went viral, I said it felt like I was at a Klan rally, a bunch of ignorant, dumb white people. As a whole, for the majority, I felt that way at AmFest. I was one of the few, if not the only person on the left that was credentialed. I didn't see anybody on the left that was there. And yes, there were a lot of people that were very nice to me, and I appreciated the fact that I was shown respect there. But I don't think they let a lot of people in there because they don't want people like me in there. That's what I think.
I agree. I know. You know why? Because you got a brain. They like people that are dumb. They like people that can't debate. That's why, because they're dumb and you're too intelligent. That's the only reason. They couldn't out debate you. Like that kid that spent $250 and still is so dumb he can't debate. I didn't even go to college, and I had to out debate matter of fact, I had to out debate Wilson with my a handkerchief over my mouth, and I still out debate him.
Yeah, you're right. And I felt bad for that kid because I think he wasted $250. Here's what I got from most of those people that were walking into AmFest. A lot of people that are maybe not horrible people, but a lot of people that are very stupid. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. You can say ill-informed, you can say uneducated.
No,
there were people that couldn't even put a sentence together. And then when you talk to the right wingers that can put sentences together, they just lie. They're very good at spinning the truth, and they lie. The everyday normal people,
Fox News.
Like they're wearing these.
They learned it from Fox News.
Yeah, you're right.
They learned it from Fox News.
You're right. They're wearing.
Fox News is the biggest lying. That's why they paying $860 billion, because all they do is lie.
Well, you're right. They're wearing their 2028 Trump gear. They're decked out in their Trump paraphernalia. They don't know how to have an actual discussion on the issues. They don't know where the economy's at. They don't know where it's headed. They don't understand. And then when you ask them about Russia and Vladimir Putin, well, at least he's trying. That's their answer. They criticize Barack Obama and Joe Biden every single day. But if Donald Trump doesn't accomplish anything, they say, well, at least he's trying. He cares about the American people. Let me tell you something, man. I think I'm saying this right now, and it's going to make a lot of people that listen to this show maybe feel good. I think the Republican Party is in a lot of trouble. Do you know the term groypers? There were a lot of anti-Semitic people and Nazis that were infiltrating themselves around these parties and around Phoenix. It's a huge problem. I was having private conversations with Jack Posobiec. I was having a conversation with Cam Higbee on social media yesterday. This is a huge problem that the Republican Party is dealing with now. Why? Because they want to say freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want, but yet these people are infiltrating themselves, the Nick Fuentes types within the Republican Party, and they're the ones that have called the Democrat Party the ones that are anti-Semitic. They have a huge anti-Semitic problem within the Republican Party. If you don't believe me, somebody that I don't like a lot, but you can ask Ben Shapiro. They have a huge problem. Huge.
Brian, it's time now. Black and Jewish people unite. If not, we're going to lose this country, and it's going to be a civil war. Black and Jewish people and everybody else that has a brain, we need to unite and start going against this illegitimate MAGA mushroom party. It's time to kill the cult.
I agree. Well said, Jason. Bringing it every day. I appreciate it, Jason. You're right. So there were a lot of parties, right-wing conservative parties, a few that I was invited to. I went to one of them. Didn't have time to go to the others. But these people that are like neo-Nazis, these groypers, neo-Nazis, were infiltrating themselves not only at these parties, but also at AmFest. They're like Nick Fuentes types. They're just despicable people. They're basically the white version of Myron Gaines. That's really who these people are. And they are infiltrating among the Republican Party. And we heard for years how the Democrat Party have issues with anti-Semitism. No, now it's the Republican Party, okay? It's the Republican Party. And they don't know what to do with these people because they claim freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. They don't know what to do with these people. I noticed that was a huge issue at AmFest over the last several days. And there are a lot of private conversations that I've heard behind the scenes with the Turning Point people because they don't know what to do. But then again, where did they get this stuff from? I'm not going to say they didn't get some of this stuff from Charlie Kirk. Now, I'm not saying that Charlie Kirk would flat out use slurs, but I believe Charlie Kirk showed sympathy for white supremacists. Look at the president of the United States talking about the Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by. I don't care how many times Donald Trump disavowed racism. Look at his behaviors. Look at his actions. Look at his policies. They do not favor minorities in this country. They favor white supremacists and people that have a lot of money, like the idiot from Hawaii who just called into the show. 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you do want to be a part of the conversation, that number is 702-221-SAVE. We would love to hear from you as we're approaching the holidays and Christmas. Let's go to Shelly. Shelly is next on PTL. What's up, Shelly?
Hey, Brian. I just wanted to tell you and everybody that works for you and your little radio show, Merry Christmas. And I didn't hear what your topic was, but Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel are all breaking the law because they are blacking out all of the Epstein files.
Yes, they are. And I haven't even talked about that, Shelly. I'm glad you brought that up. There are over 149 pages that were not released. Donald Trump's name redacted over and over again.
They were all supposed to be released.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. And they showed some pictures of Bill Clinton, but yet they redacted everything when it came to, let me tell you something. There is worse stuff in there than we think.
Exactly.
There is worse
and
stuff in
you know
there.
why they're doing it? Because Trump's all over it.
Yeah, you're right. And I don't know.
Right, dear.
Yeah, I think those people need to go to jail. The people who redacted that information. There is no doubt about it. Thank you. And thank you, Shelly. Good to hear from you. 702-221-7283. Listen, those files were supposed to be released on Friday, and there were many files, the ones that were damning to Donald Trump, that were redacted. But I told you guys that this was going to happen. There was no way that the DOJ and Pam Bondi and the Kash Patels of the world, there was no way that they were going to release any of those files that showed the truth about where Donald Trump was, who Donald Trump was hanging out with. There was no chance that that was going to happen. Let's go to Mohammed. Mohammed is next up on PTL. Hello, Mohammed.
Hello, happy holidays, sir.
Hello, Mohammed. What's on your mind?
Well, I'd just like to know how it is that you have inside information that there's more in these files than has been released, or how you would know what's in the Epstein file.
Sure, 139 of those files. There were redacted names in there that were talking about.
And you know what was redacted?
Yeah, so they were talking.
Who?
Yeah, so they were talking about Mar-a-Lago. Some of those files, some of them have been leaked, where they were talking about Mar-a-Lago, and the names that were not released and blacked out. Of course, they were Donald Trump. And if they wanted to say to you, Donald Trump is not a part of these files, then they would release the files. There are certain files, and again, you could look this up if you don't believe me, that were not released. And those files have a lot to do with what was taking place at Mar-a-Lago. Some of those, as I mentioned, have been redacted. Names of Donald Trump been blacked out. The only stuff that they released.
But you're
were
not
Bill
answering
Clinton.
my question. How do you know what was redacted, and how do you know what was in the file?
Again, because some of the files that were redacted, some of them have been released, have been put out there, but the names have been redacted. And in those files, they talk about Mar-a-Lago. Those were the files that were not released publicly. Some of them have been leaked, but they haven't released the files in full publicly. There's still 139 pages. The law stated that every single one of those files had to be released. Not only were they not released, and it had nothing to do with victims' names, because victims' names were redacted in the files that they did put out there. It is abundantly obvious that the reason why they haven't released these 139 pages and files were because it would have made Donald Trump look bad. And they even said it in the statement that they made.
And you don't think that there are other people that they're trying to protect? It's just only Donald Trump.
They shouldn't be protecting anybody.
Oh, I agree with that. They shouldn't be protecting anyone. But you say it very matter-of-factly that
is Donald Trump not in the Epstein files?
Donald Trump.
Is Donald Trump
not anyone else?
Is Donald Trump not in the Epstein files, Mohammed?
I don't know. In terms of
you don't know. Don't know.
Well, I don't know what's in there that it's damning.
Mohammed, is the Earth
everybody
flat?
Keeps saying
No, I didn't ask you. Okay, so let me be.
There hasn't been any.
Let me be very.
And
hold on, Mohammed.
Well,
no. You said the word damning. Okay, where can it ever be a positive to be associated with Jeffrey Epstein?
Question.
Where could it be? Where could it ever not be damning to be in the Epstein files? Can you please explain that?
Well, I don't hear you criticizing all the other people that have been mentioned in there. And just
I have
mentioning
criticized
someone.
I have
is not proof of a crime.
Okay, first of all,
or that they did anything
damning
with underage
So
people,
first of all,
or did something
Mohammed,
wrong.
I never said there's a difference between something being damning and something being a crime. If it's not a crime, then release the files. The reason why they're not releasing the files, because it is damning. As I've said, if it's Democrat or Republican that are in those files, it's going to be damning. Stop
But why are you
protecting the
only
victims.
isolating it to Donald Trump?
Not,
I know you hate him. I get that.
Because I'm isolating it
clear.
because MAGA Republicans have been wanting to see the Epstein files for years, and they pretty much campaigned on it. And now all of a sudden, Donald Trump calls anybody stupid who brings up the Epstein files. Let me ask you a question. Since you seem to give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt, seems to be on everything, Mohammed, can you please explain to me why Kash Patel under oath 7 times was asked? Did you tell Pam Bondi that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, and Kash Patel wouldn't answer the question? Can you give me one logical reason why he wouldn't? Just one.
I think that he is mentioned in the Epstein files along with many others. But what I'm getting at is you are saying there's stuff much worse. You're saying that they are hiding things, and you don't know that, and you have no way to prove it.
You just said and admitted that Donald Trump is most likely in the Epstein files. So far, all the files that they have shown, Donald Trump's name is not mentioned. That is what I mean when I say they are hiding. Listen, you don't have to be a brilliant Mohammed. You seem like a nice guy, but you don't sound like you're very intelligent.
Let me ask you a different question. And do you think anyone, regardless of what party or if they're affiliated with, or if they're not even political people, just anyone in those files is ever going to be prosecuted?
I think it's a possibility if they release all the files, if there's enough evidence in there to prosecute.
I think you're.
So here's the thing, right?
Absolutely wrong.
Here's why your question is stupid. Here's why
if there were bad things to come out about Donald Trump, what do you think happened?
Okay, so hold on a second.
Ends his presidency?
Hold on a second. Here's why I don't like the premise of your question. The victims deserve some justice, even if it's not criminality enough to prosecute. These people in these files, their reputations deserve to be tarnished, whether that is a Democrat or a Republican. It is obvious to me that they are hiding something. Here's why I say hide. Now let me ask you another question. The last question you couldn't answer because you know what the answer is. Why do you think they're treating Maxwell the way she is? Why is the Trump administration, a woman who has been sentenced to 20 years for the worst sex crimes and sex trafficking, they put her in a Club Med facility with a puppy dog. She's allowed preferential treatment, food delivered to her dorm, as I would call it. She's allowed any guest she wants to arrive, and they're allowed snacks, free snacks and a laptop. Why do you think days after Trump's former personal attorney interviewed her, she was sent to this Club Med facility? Can you give me a reason why?
Well, I can tell you no, because I wasn't part of those conversations.
Oh, give me a break.
Nor were you. But let me just tell you what.
So you have to be a part of a conversation.
Let me answer the question.
Good
See,
God!
You throw these. You pull the pin on a grenade and roll it into the room, and you don't let anybody respond.
Okay.
Let me respond. So it is a normal protocol for working with a witness or somebody who has inside information.
It is.
To offer things to extract.
Okay, let me ask you about that then.
So
hold on.
Absolutely not, because she's a despicable human being and deserves nothing.
Can you name me one case of someone that was sentenced to more than 20 years for child sex trafficking that has been treated in this way? Name me one.
Well, I'm not an attorney.
You're not an attorney.
Don't act like I'm stuttering because I didn't. I don't know of any cases because I don't follow. This one happens.
Why does it sound like when I hold you to account and ask you to be specific?
I'm not.
Why does it sound like you have?
I'm saying that I'm sure the government has made concessions for other.
Then name, and then when you say you're sure, and I asked you to be specific, it sounds like you have Trump's mushroom in your mouth and you can't answer the question. Why is that?
Well, listen, it tasted like your booty hole.
Yeah.
When you put it in my mouth.
You would know a little bit of.
So don't throw those accusations.
Mohammed, isn't it true? Mohammed, isn't it true that if you do that sort of stuff? No, my point is, Mohammed, isn't it true that in some aspects of your religion, if you do that stuff, they throw you off a roof? Isn't that true?
How many times have people who have been involved in murders or rapes or anything else been given immunity or been given a pass?
Well, let me tell you
the
something.
Actual perpetrator.
Legal experts. Every day. Okay, well, Mohammed,
what
stop
you don't
talking.
Like is that it
stop
happened with her.
Mohammed,
because it.
Mohammed,
mind,
you said you're not a legal expert. Legal experts.
I'm not, and neither are you.
So why don't you be quiet? So be quiet and listen to the legal experts that have spoken that I've listened to, even on Fox News and CNN and every other network. Attorneys all over the place have all said the same thing. They've said this is unprecedented, that someone who is sentenced to 20 plus years gets a puppy dog, gets sent to a Club Med facility. So you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. You put yourself.
Unprecedented only means it hasn't happened before.
Yep. And you can't name one. You can't name one.
So you think it's wrong that the coach from Ole Miss went to LSU and they paid him $91 million? That's unprecedented. But guess what? New things happened every day.
So you are comparing. Okay, got you.
Happen every day.
So you are making. You are trying to make. Hold on. You are trying to make a comparison to what happened to that football coach to Maxwell. There is absolutely no comparison between the two. I don't celebrate and I don't defend what that guy did. But Maxwell is one of the biggest sex traffickers on the planet, and you are defending Donald Trump.
I'm not defending what the government did. You're trying to tie in that they only did it to protect Donald Trump. Did the government make a bad deal? 100%. They should have done nothing. In fact, if anything,
it's not the government. That's where you're wrong. Hold on a second.
It is the government.
You're blaming and hold on a second. And guess what? Who does the attorney and who does the attorney general listen to in this situation? You think?
Again, you think. See, you
answer the question.
If he was
all right, pot him down. You're getting potted down. If you think that Pam Bondi did this on her own and it had nothing to do with Donald Trump's directive, You are a freaking clown, and you are a typical Mohammed Trump mushroom gobbling fool. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? If you think Pam Bondi did this on her own as we pod you back up?
Anyone who's come out and directly said Donald Trump put his foot down and pressured somebody to make a specific deal to help him. You can't prove that.
Oh my God.
That's
oh my
you
God.
assuming.
All right, so Mohammed, you're right. Just like I assume you're right, Mohammed. I assume a lot of things. I assume that you have no education and you're a Trump gobbler. For you to say that you think the way they've treated Maxwell had nothing to do with Donald Trump, nothing at all, and that Donald Trump didn't put pressure on them to treat Maxwell in this fashion so that Maxwell could say some nice things about Donald Trump, and that's the only reason that you can come up with, other than any other reason, that Trump had nothing to do with this, that makes you a fool. I'm sorry, Mohammed. I appreciate your phone call. I'll give you the last word here for 5 seconds. But, take Donald Trump's mushroom out of your mouth, read a book, and get educated, because you are extremely naive. Extremely naive, Mohammed.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yes, thank you. But when you're done taking the ornaments out of your mouth, take Donald Trump's mushroom out of your mouth. Merry Christmas, Mohammed. Let's go to Brett. Brett is next. Hello, Brett.
Hey, Brian, what an absolute clown that guy was. I can't even believe the lengths that these guys go to protect these pedophiles, the main pedophile being Donald Trump. This is unbelievable. And the other clown that called from Hawaii, his biggest concern was the border. Where's these big border crossings happening in Hawaii, Brian?
Yeah.
These people are unbelievable. The excuses and the coddling they do for this guy who has done nothing but wreck the economy, make every single thing in my life more expensive. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And that coward that calls himself Muhammad, I bet my house on the fact that his name is not Muhammad. What a coward clown these people are.
You can call him.
Thanks for taking my call, Brian.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. I agree. I think we can call him Trump mushroom gobbler today. He's the mushroom gobbler of the day, Mohammed, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, he's welcome to call back and embarrass himself once again. These people that say, oh, well, they're just trying to get more information on Maxwell. Oh my God, it's such a joke. Anyway, for those of you that haven't subscribed to my YouTube page, my Facebook fan page is growing. We're close to 40,000 subs, I think, by the end of the day. Pushing the Limits Facebook fan page. You're going to love it. We put up a lot of stuff up there, a lot of stuff on our YouTube page. Of course, I'm the Brian Shapiro on X as well. And we're a private entity. And we need help from all of you to keep this thing going. So go to my website if you want to support what we do, pushingthelimits.live. There's a button there where you can donate $5, $10, $20 a month, whatever you can afford. We greatly appreciate it. Helps us keep the lights on here, and you're supporting independent media. I think we need more of that. So pushingthelimits.live. Big show lined up for you tomorrow. My friend Ryan Shedd, left-wing podcaster, had a visit from the FBI over the weekend. You're not going to believe why. It's insane. He's going to share his story on the show tomorrow. Ron Filipkowski, my buddy from Midas Touch, is going to be joining us as well. So two great guests tomorrow. And Ben Berquam is going to get a big right-wing influencer, a big debate set up with him on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado.